Hello honeys! Arisugawa Otome has a lot of overlooked strengths in the Aikatsu anime, which I've discovered by analyzing all of her experiences and motivations. This is a thorough deep dive containing spoilers for the entire original series, including the 10th anniversary film Starway to the Future. If that's okay with you, let's get started. Arisugawa Otome grew up in her family's kindergarten. Although we never see her parents, we know that she was lovingly raised and enjoyed playing with other children even as she got older. This safe environment fostered her love of all things bright and fun, and with a revolving door of other kids to entertain, she developed a love of performing for them, singing and dancing in particular. However, Otome also suffered from several deep anxieties as a kid. She had a debilitating fear of heights, which she was only able to overcome in the process of helping a little girl who would hide at the top of one of the playground slides. She was also afraid of performing outside of the kindergarten. In the animated Aikatsu movie edition, series director Ryuichi Kimura confirms that she just likes singing and dancing. I didn't prepare anything in particular for her to have a dream like Aoi, where she admired the idol Goopy. So Otome doesn't dream of having anything close to an idol career all throughout elementary school, when many other Aikatsu characters are forming their idol ambitions. Instead, her introduction to the industry and change of heart are a bit unclear. The Aikatsu official guidebook states that when she was in the first year of junior high school, she won the grand prize at the 17th National Pop Girl Contest, which sparked her interest in the industry. She was in high demand for a number of commercials. The animated Aikatsu movie edition also confirms that Otome was active before Ichigo and Aoi, and was hugely popular when she first appeared as an idol in the Poppin' Popcorn commercial. We don't know what kind of contest the National Pop Girl Contest was, or what the grand prize was. Did she get the popcorn commercial gig as a reward for winning? Or did the popcorn company seek her out because she won the contest? We don't know. We also don't know if Otome entered the contest from a normal middle school, or if she decided to enroll at Starlight Academy before the contest. Did she transfer in after suddenly being solicited for entertainment work? Or did she try to overcome her fears by giving Starlight Academy a chance before the contest? These answers would give us a lot of insight into her character, but there's no way to know for sure. Instead, the overall impression is that Otome's idol career was spontaneous, even miraculous, and not something that she was necessarily prepared for. Aoi explains that Otome was in commercials for Poppin' Popcorn, Cheerful Pop Candy, and Getcha Cold Freezing Ice Pop, within her first 6 months of middle school. That indicates that she was elevated quickly as a good fit for kids' snack brand, and gained some niche public popularity in a short period of time. Otome is brave enough to make the most of these opportunities, but they also amplify her insecurities about performing. Starlight Academy is an intensely competitive environment, filled with established child entertainers. It's night and day from the environment she'd been raised in. In comparison to other students, Otome feels inadequate. She describes herself as a bit of a klutz, explaining, "That's why I need to practice so much more than other people. But no matter how much I train, I get scared during the real deal. So no matter what, I need to practice more and more." Otome tends to avoid other students during her training, seeking out secluded spots around campus to work on skills that she sees as embarrassing. She's locked into a promotional contract with Poppin' Popcorn and has work already scheduled for the following year. So even if she's nervous about her new situation, away from the safe environment of her family's kindergarten, Otome has plenty of pressure to improve quickly. One thing that brings Otome comfort at Starlight is one of the fountains on campus. It's positioned in just the right spot that rainbows sometimes appear in the mist it creates. The Aikatsu official guidebook states that her daily routine is to make rainbow checks on the fountain in the school plaza. When she is able to spot one, the desire to reach out and touch it is so strong that she sometimes falls into the fountain. Although this detail is mostly meant to show that Otome is more absent-minded than other students, she looks more lost in thought, almost melancholy when we see her fall in for the first time in the anime. We can imagine her growing loneliness as she struggles to keep up with her classmates, and the powerful longing she must feel when she's reminded of the simpler, happier times playing at the kindergarten, especially if she checks the fountain every day for a reminder of that feeling. Otome is deep in her own head, not even reacting to the water she's sitting in, when she's approached by 3 other students. One of them offers to help her up, and Otome takes her hand in a daze. There's room to doubt the intentions of these students, but Otome is surprised when the girl who helped her just asks if she'll be okay. Touched by her compassion, Otome instantly feels better. Otome is even more moved when the girl asks if she's hurt, and the second girl offers her a towel. The third girl even recognizes her from the commercial she's been in. Just as Otome is feeling grateful for their friendliness, the bell rings and they're all late to class. Otome instantly apologizes, feeling terrible for distracting them, but the first girl just reminds her to change her clothes to avoid getting sick. Otome can't help but feel enamored with her for her compassion. Otome learns that the 3 girls are named Ran, Ichigo, and Aoi. Later that evening, she tracks down Ran's dorm room and brings her some strawberry popcorn to thank her for her help. She invites Ran to eat it with her, hoping to get to know her better, but Ran says that she doesn't eat sweets at night. Undeterred, Otome promises to return with a plain salted flavor instead. That day, Otome is also signed up to compete in a school tournament. The prize is a chance to perform at the school's Christmas concert, and her first opponent in the bracket is her new friend, Ichigo. Although she's interested in the opportunity, Otome is busy practicing for a job she's been booked for the next year. She'll be playing an elegant swan, which she feels completely unprepared for, so she practices posing in secret. But when Ichigo stumbles upon her training spot, Otome is so embarrassed that she falls over in surprise. Ichigo offers her plenty of encouragement though, so Otome shyly explains herself and ends up feeling a lot better. She's happy to run into Ichigo again at the Rainbow Fountain the next day. And even though it's overcast and Otome knows that there probably won't be any rainbows that day, Ichigo stands up to look for one too. They both stare at the fountain, and suddenly the clouds part for a moment, creating a miraculous rainbow and a rare bit of sunshine. The two of them are both so happy about the coincidence that they feel proud of themselves for taking the chance to look for it. They promise to do their best at the next day's competition, and Otome feels like she's gained a friend who truly understands her. When their performance time arrives, Otome is nervous, but she's moved when Ichigo once again encourages her, and from there it's hard to be upset when she loses the round to her new friend. Otome earnestly congratulates Ichigo afterwards, but starts crying despite her genuine intentions. Ichigo had deserved the victory, and deserved Otome's gratitude for her support, so her overly emotional reaction to losing surprises her, and she apologizes frantically. She'd never felt such an intense mix of relief, gratitude, and frustration before. A part of her wished that she could have made it farther, all the way to that Christmas concert stage. Ichigo comforts Otome, telling her that she's become a fan of hers, and that's almost enough of a reward. It's only when the school headmistress announces that there will be a loser's bracket to add one more performer spot that Otome's tears finally disappear. Ran, Aoi, and Ichigo have all been accepted for the concert, so Otome feels motivated to succeed alongside them. In order to help Otome with this goal, her friends invite her to join them for training. Otome gets distracted on the first day when she becomes obsessed with the cat necklace the school groundskeeper is wearing, but she gains extra motivation to practice when Ran tells her that she'll receive her own if she wins the loser's bracket. She puts in the effort and is able to win, securing her a place on stage. Before they can make it to the Christmas concert, Otome and her friends are first tasked with preparing the class's Christmas party. Ichigo is in charge of the prep team, and Otome is easily motivated by her optimistic approach to leadership. When Ichigo leads them up a snowy mountain in search of a giant Christmas tree, Otome struggles along behind everyone and gives it her best effort too. By the time the concert arrives, she is more confident than ever in Ichigo's unique value as an idol, leader, and friend. After the new year, Otome and her friends are approved to start applying for drama auditions. She is excited about it since she's never been in a proper acting role before, but she's very nervous during the first audition. Even with all of her friends there, she can't get comfortable on set. Aoi passes the audition instead, alongside Kamiya Shion, one of Otome's classmates and a very talented actress. Soon after this, Otome's friends begin pushing her toward a different milestone, a premium dress. They tell her that if she can get a custom, premium dress from a fashion brand, then they'll all be able to match for their upcoming group audition. She'll need to personally meet with the head designer of a brand and convince them that she's worth investing in as a collaborator. Otome has a favorite fashion brand, Happy Rainbow, but she's never heard of premium dresses or any head designers. Still, the idea of getting one is very exciting to her, and her friends direct her to ask one of their teachers for help in contacting Happy Rainbow's designer. He's unsuccessful, but on the day of the group audition, the school headmistress manages to get Otome a last-minute appointment with the designer, Nijigahara Makoto. The headmistress emphasizes the importance of being on time, since the designer is apparently very strict. It'll be a tight schedule, and Otome may not even make it back to school in time for their audition. Ichigo and Aoi try to give her advice, but Otome is mostly listening to Ran. When Otome had felt guilty for the delay in getting her Happy Rainbow appointment, Ran had been the one to push her to have more confidence. She said that they didn't need the premium dresses if they couldn't all match, but now Ran emphasizes that the special outfit will give them immeasurable advantage in the competition. Otome decides to go for it, and then quickly gets lost looking for the Happy Rainbow studio. On the way, she gets distracted when she finds a cutely dressed old lady and gets carried away by giving her a hug. Otome is immediately scolded for her forwardness, and then the lady asks her for a favor. Her name is Ikuyo, and she's looking for a camphor tree from a childhood memory. A memory of her first love. Otome loves love. She loves love so much that it's become ingrained in her character as an idol. And with the support of her friends recently, her commitment to loving everyone around her has only gotten stronger. So if Ikuyo is motivated by love too, Otome feels determined to help her. Getting to her premium dress appointment on time will have to share a priority with this new mission. If she gives both her best effort, she'll surely be able to make it in time. Otome knows that she'll need help to do this, so she texts Ichigo for support. Ichigo, Aoi, and Ron all meet up with her, and Ron scolds her for wasting time before her appointment. Otome pushes back against the criticism, insisting that Ikuyo's search is just as important, and asks her friends for help in finding the tree she's looking for. Aoi identifies several places to check, and they head out. As they struggle to find the tree, Ron continues to remind Otome about the risk she's taking in splitting her attention. It only makes Otome more stubborn to see the mission through. Even when Ikuyo herself feels ready to give up, Otome insists that they keep going. It's love. No matter how many years pass, love is still love. They all agree to split up to ask around for new leads. They are short on time though, so Otome starts running, and runs directly into a man coming around a corner. She knocks him over, and he starts scolding her too. Otome is carrying Ikuyo on her back, desperate to complete two objectives she cares about, so she stands up for herself. I'm in a rush too. Ikuyo interjects and asks about the tree, and the man gives them some directions before running off. The group ends up finding the stump of the tree, cut down long ago after a typhoon. Otome is proud to have found it, but also worried about whether Ikuyo will be upset. When Ikuyo reveals that the tree is the site of her first rejection, it brings tears to Otome's eyes. But Ikuyo reassures her that she's long since moved on, and thanks her for her help in finding it. Now with closure and the knowledge that even the tree is no longer there, Ikuyo gives Otome her last keepsake from the experience, a pendant that her first love had given her as an apology. Otome tries to reject the gift, feeling unworthy of it, but Ikuyo says that she's content with her memories. Plus, I was able to find new love, she adds, and with that hopeful sentiment, Otome feels able to accept the memento. But before she can bask in the sentimentality of it all, her friends remind her that she's late to her appointment with the Happy Rainbow designer. When they finally arrive at the studio, she's just under 10 minutes late. And to her surprise, Makoto ends up being the same man that she'd run into earlier. Excited by the coincidence, Otome recovers from her shock quickly and offers him a hug. But Makoto has already decided that Otome doesn't deserve the premium dress he'd reserved for her. She was late, and that was that. Aoi and Ichigo try to defend Otome, but Makoto shuts them down, and Otome hurries to intervene. It's my own fault that I was late, she tells Ichigo, and then repeats Makoto's own words. I'm just eating the precious time that he put into making that dress. Ron agrees with her, and gives her credit for the teamwork that they gained that day. Otome will just have to get over it, she says, which Otome accepts. Defeated, she pulls out the pendant she received from Ikuyo to reflect on her decision, concluding that she was at least worthy of such an important symbol of love. Just as she's preparing to leave, Makoto snatches the pendant from her and accuses her of stealing it from him. But when he goes to return it to its drawer, he pulls out an identical piece. Confused, Otome approaches him and gently takes hers back from his open hand. This is one of Ikuyo's memories, she tells him, and Makoto seems to understand. He asks if the old lady had been looking for a camphor tree, and then reveals that his father had been the boy that Ikuyo once confessed to, the pendant's original owner. What Ikuyo hadn't known was that her love had been reciprocated after all. Makoto's father wasn't able to accept her feelings then, but he gotten them matching pendants to make up for their mismatched timing. Now that Makoto knows that the memory had been equally important to both Ikuyo and his father all these years later, he's overwhelmed by the power of even ill-fated love stories. Recognizing how much more the story means to him, Otome offers Makoto her pendant. She insists that his father would have wanted the pendants to be reunited, and the two of them tear up as they realize how much they both value the love that connects people. As thanks for her generosity, Makoto decides to give Otome the premium dress after all. She doesn't even have time to thank him properly as her friends whisk her away to their looming group audition. They make it in time, and they all pass. Over the next month, Otome spends a lot more time with Ichigo, Aoi, and Ron. She gains a new level of respect for the school's top idol, Kanzaki Mizuki, after watching a legendary performance of hers. She then befriends one of her classmates, Todo Yurika. And then, in no time, she, Ichigo, Ron, and Yurika are all invited to audition for a movie together, Stylish Thieves Swallowtail. The film is a reboot of an older series, which once starred the school's headmistress herself. The director wants a pair of fresh idols with no acting experience, and Otome finds herself drawn to the original storyline. The drama's heroine saves an idol's concert by returning her stolen dress to her, and Otome is relieved that all of the idol's fans will be able to enjoy the performance. The four friends train together as a team under Aoi's guidance, but there's some tension between Ran and Eureka. Otome is a little worried about them, but she's mostly concerned about her own chances of passing when they find out that the director is much stricter than they expected. Luckily, Otome is distracted by the scenario of the audition. It's the same as the original drama, with an idol begging them to save her stolen dress to avoid disappointing her fans. Otome sees an idol's work as being similar to her own work with children growing up. She performs because it makes others happy, and she can't stand the idea of disappointing anyone. So she finds it easy to get comfortable in her role this time around, and puts all of her focus into getting that dress back. By the time they're reaching the end of the scenario, Eureka is struggling to keep up. Otome earnestly encourages her along with everyone else, emphasizing the importance of completing the mission. And in the end, when they're on the brink of failing, Otome and Ichigo both decide to sacrifice their chances to let Ran and Eureka complete the audition instead. Fully immersed in the scenario, they both ask their friends to deliver a lovely concert to the fans. For their dedication, Ichigo and Otome are chosen for the film's lead roles. Free of her stage fright, Otome is able to stay immersed in her character and meet the director's high standards. The filming is successful, the movie is eventually released, and Otome has conquered another major milestone. She isn't so lucky in her next challenge, Starlight Academy's Fresh Girls Cup, where she prepares intensely but narrowly misses the final round of the tournament. Her next chance to compete is a special group audition she plans on taking with her friends. They're all second-year students now, and they've added a talented first-year student named Sakura to their circle. Sakura is hesitant to join them in the competition, but Otome agrees with everyone else that she should do it anyway. Sakura is stuck on the small detail of not having a premium dress of her own, so they all try to recommend a brand for her to collaborate with. But Sakura has a favorite brand already, Aurora Fantasy, and she's both entirely devoted to it and entirely convinced that she won't be accepted by its designer. She refuses to work with any other brand though, so she refuses to hold the rest of the group back by performing with them. As everyone else laments their failure to convince Sakura, Otome processes the strength of Sakura's love for Aurora Fantasy. She's left feeling unsure of whether her own love is that strong, and decides that she must assert herself to Makoto as soon as possible. If Sakura loves Aurora Fantasy so much that she's willing to go without a premium dress forever, then Otome will love Happy Rainbow enough to have 2 premium dresses. It's the only way she can think to make up the gap. Otome heads over to the Happy Rainbow studio, no appointment needed, and storms Makoto's office. She begs him for a new dress to spread her love for Happy Rainbow all around the world, and Makoto hurriedly reassures her that she can have his newest design. Otome loves it and instantly feels like she's regained the upper hand. As she's wrapping up the surprise meeting, she gets a call from Ichigo. Ichigo says that she's calling for Sakura, so Otome seizes the opportunity to inform her of her victory. Otome won't lose to Sakura, she says as soon as the phone is handed over. I won't let myself lose to the amount of love you have for Aurora Fantasy. Next is your turn, Sakura. This challenge seems to motivate Sakura, and she asks Otome for Makoto's help in finding Aurora Fantasy's designer. Of course, if it's for love, Otome is happy to agree. Sakura gets her premium dress, and the whole group passes the audition together. Otome gets even closer with Sakura as they start training together for the next few opportunities. The two of them nearly make it to the final round of Kanzaki Mizuki's own unit audition, after which Otome is left to reflect on her goals for the future. She wanted to be in Mizuki's unit, TriStar, to spread love with Mizuki all across the world, but that didn't end up happening. Instead, Ran and a new student named Kaide are selected for TriStar. Immediately afterward, the headmistress announces that a second unit will be formed from the school's students. The idea alone is exciting, and Otome is proud when Ichigo and Aoi are selected for it. There's a bit of a shuffle, and Ran ends up joining Ichigo and Aoi to form Soleil, while Eureka takes Ran's spot in TriStar. As Otome watches Soleil's debut concert with Sakura and Eureka, she can only imagine how much stronger she'd be in a unit of her own. In the days following Soleil's debut and TriStar's reorganization, Otome gets to work. Out of all of her close friends, only she and Sakura have been left out of the unit hype. That makes Sakura a natural pick for Otome's new unit. But both Soleil and TriStar are 3-member groups, and Otome wants to compete with them on as equal ground as possible. So after a selection process we unfortunately don't get to see, Otome somehow convinces her serious classmate Shion to join them. Their unit faces a lot of challenges without school support, but Otome is determined to see it through. Almost as soon as Sakura and Shion agree to form a unit with her, Otome marches them over to announce their formation to their friends. TriStar may be away from school for work, but Soleil is training on campus. They show off their self-introduction to Ichigo, Aoi, and Ran, and then Otome reveals the full extent of her plans. Otome had conceptualized her unit as one she could lead herself. Observing Ichigo's leadership style had greatly inspired her, and so had Mizuki's bold approach to her unit. In order to grow, leadership is a quality that Otome wants for herself. So when Aoi asks what their unit name is, Otome comes up with one on the spot: PowaPuri. Sakura and Shion seem confused when Otome then announces herself as their leader, but Otome is confident in her abilities. There is no reason to be anything but excited by the possibilities ahead of them. The new trio then holds a meeting in Sakura's dorm room. Sakura questions Otome's decisions, but she already has a good reason for keeping them in the dark about her plans. The leader always has to be running in front of her members, she explains, and then shows them the lyrics that she's written for their debut song. Sakura loves it, but Shion doesn't seem to get the concept. That's okay though, Otome is far from finished with it anyway. By the next week, Otome has come up with a new unit introduction for them. And at this point, Sakura is fully on board. Shion has some trouble with the cute style, but Otome has figured out the perfect way to convince her. She points out that Shion is a talented actress who is perfectly capable of showing different sides of herself. And when Shion admits that she's been avoiding cuter roles in her work, Otome has got her. She and Sakura encourage her to try something new, and Shion finally agrees to commit to their new image. That evening, at max power, Otome formally declares their rivalry with Soleil. This winning streak is short-lived, as only a week later that PowaPuri is recruited by the headmistress to join TriStar and Soleil on a summer concert tour. Their combined unit name will be Star Anise, and Mizuki will be their leader. Otome has reservations about this plan, along with Sakura and Shion. To start with, the news comes in a surprise recording that interrupts their signature snack brainstorming meeting. They hadn't even been camera ready, and Otome is embarrassed to be presented to fans so casually. The group have a meeting with the headmistress that day to discuss the opportunity, and all three of them honestly say that they're not sure they can accept it. Otome has planned plenty of activities that will keep them busy, from watching clouds to taste testing desserts. So she's not sure that she can handle adding Star Anise obligations on top of her own plans. Sakura says that she feels too inexperienced to handle it too, and Shion is focused on her acting career. By the end of the day though, the other Star Anise members have convinced them to join anyway. Or at least convinced Otome and Sakura. Otome realizes that she'll be able to reach even more fans on tour, and Sakura welcomes the chance to learn from the more experienced members. But Shion is firm in wanting to focus on acting, and Otome stands by her decision 100%. When Shion is asked in a press conference if she'll also be stepping back from PowaPuri, Otome reassures them that she's already convinced Shion not to quit. The tour is a success and allows Otome to get closer with Kaide, one of the TriStar members. They share a love of fun and excitement that draws them together, along with Ichigo. But most of all, Otome gained even more respect for Mizuki, Star Anise's leader. Their first tour stop suffers a power outage from a typhoon, and Mizuki is able to use her knowledge of her members to entertain the audience long enough for power to be restored. Mizuki is an amazing leader, and Otome's desire to follow in her footsteps becomes even stronger. When the tour eventually ends, both Otome and Sakura have learned a lot that they're eager to apply to their work in PowaPuri. They're excited to be reunited with Shion back at school, but Shion seems to have reservations about their return. Otome presses her about her concerns, but Shion only avoids her. Ran suggests that Shion is feeling some level of regret about passing on the Star Anise tour and is insecure about her next audition. It'll be for the role of Alice in an Alice in Wonderland adaptation, the exact kind of cutesy character that she'd been avoiding before. Otome and Sakura join their friends in helping out with the audition to support Shion. They play the other characters for Shion to bounce off of, and it seems to help her recover. She passes the audition, regains her confidence, and PowaPuri is back in full swing. Over the next month, Otome and her friends prepare for the school's ultimate challenge, the Starlight Queen Cup. It's a chance to take Mizuki's title of Starlight Queen and become the school's top idol. Otome fully commits to her training and sees some career momentum in her growing number of variety show appearances. PowaPuri has yet to release their debut song, but she's hard at work on those lyrics still. Only the top 8 students are eligible to compete in the Starlight Queen Cup, and those students are the members of Star Anise. Faced with competition against her close friends, Otome feels some of her old stage fright creeping back in as they go on standby for the first round of the competition. Ichigo is able to reassure her for a moment, but she's once again feeling nervous by the time they're announcing the results. The finalist will move on to face Mizuki one-on-one. After a tense reveal, Ichigo is selected for the final round. Otome is extremely proud of her, but as soon as she and everyone else go to congratulate her, she is heartbroken to learn that it doesn't actually matter. Ichigo is planning to leave Starlight Academy right after the competition. She'll be heading overseas to America for the foreseeable future. Otome isn't proud of her reaction to the news. She'd been the only one to start crying, but she manages to smile and put on a brave face for her friend. They all watch the final round of the Starlight Queen Cup together, nervously anticipating the final outcome, and Ichigo loses by the tiniest margin. After one last encore performance, Ichigo is rushed off to the airport by Aoi and Ron. Otome and her friends follow them, insisting that they couldn't have missed saying one last goodbye to her. The next day, an emergency assembly is held by the headmistress. She announces Ichigo's departure, as well as Mizuki's, leaving the position of Starlight Queen completely empty. The competition will have to be redone. The events of this redo competition are left a mystery, but we know that Otome and Aoi end up as the two finalists this time. Overjoyed, Otome isn't nervous about the results. Just getting a second chance is miraculous enough. As she and Aoi stand on stage together, Otome thanks the audience for helping her get so far. "I want to be the Starlight Queen with all of you supporting me." The crowd of students erupts in applause, and within a few more moments, Otome is announced as the winner. She will be the one to take over Mizuki's title of Starlight Queen. After such a chaotic turn of events and the uncertainty surrounding Mizuki's departure, Otome cries tears of joy for her cathartic victory. To recognize her importance as the top idol of Starlight Academy, Otome is awarded Mizuki's former dorm building. As a 3-year reigning queen, she'd occupied her very own home on campus for private training and management. Now, since it's empty, Otome will live there instead. She makes sure to preserve the worn-out floor in Mizuki's old dance studio as a reminder of the hard work behind a queen's radiance. And since her own unit, PowaPuri, had been operating independently up to this point, it is formally adopted as an official Starlight Academy unit, giving Otome full access to her school's extensive production resources. Over the next year, PowaPuri achieves new levels of popularity as the general public becomes interested in their unique style of idol work. Under Otome's leadership, they seek out slower-paced activities, candy festivals, bird watching, following lines on the sidewalk, and community service, to name a few. They even have an official blog. The public interest in their group dynamic becomes strong enough that a new morning show is based on them, Powa Walking, a short segment that films them discreetly to avoid disturbing their peaceful enjoyment of their small adventures. With TriStar disbanded and Soleil on hiatus, PowaPuri slowly climbs to the top of the idol unit rankings. They become darlings of the public, recognized but rarely bothered outside of free snacks and warm words. And throughout their growing fame, they all learn to trust each other more and more. They would never dream of interfering with each other's goals, and for that they each do everything in their power to be there for each other when it matters. The only problem is the emergence of a new threat to Starlight Academy, a brand new, state-of-the-art rival school called Dream Academy. With a novel concept of looser admission criteria and a broader range of subjects for applicants to pursue, Dream Academy students quickly start to overshadow their predecessors at Starlight. Otome later admits that she is a little scared of this development, and series director Kimura clarifies in the animated Aikatsu movie edition that she's scared that her popularity would be snatched away. To take advantage of this rivalry, Starlight Academy formally recognizes their competitor in a face-off concert. Each school will send a representative idol, with Dream Academy hyping up a brand new student who hasn't even debuted yet. Because of the uncertain threat, director Kimura says in the animated Aikatsu movie edition that the strategy was to save the boss for later. So as the runner-up Starlight Queen, Aoi is chosen to compete instead of Otome. And it's while Otome is visiting Aoi before her turn to perform that she stumbles upon something unexpected. Ichigo, fresh from America, ready to return to Starlight for good. Ichigo ends up taking Aoi's place on stage, and Otome throws her a welcome party as soon as they all get back to school. Ichigo's wild stories about her travels inspire Otome to be even more dedicated to her own work. The scale of PowaPuri's activities ramps up toward the middle of Otome's 3rd year of middle school. They start doing more concerts, fashion shows, and major MC gigs, but they maintain their signature style. Just because Otome proudly announced that the 3 of them will earn the top 3 places in an idol marathon, that doesn't stop them from throwing the race in order to try new snacks. Director Kimura explains Otome's logic in the animated Aikatsu movie edition. I also have to protect the image of PowaPuri. I don't know where the fans are watching me, so even if it means withdrawing from the race, I have to eat sweets. Otome is nothing if not professional, and if PowaPuri's image depends on them prioritizing the slower pace of life, her own ambitions must come second to her fans' expectations. That's why when Otome is appointed the general director of Starlight Academy's school festival, she throws herself into the preparations seriously. The headmistress assigns PowaPuri to kick off the festival with a free activity block, and Otome is confident about their ability to pull it off. The festival will be promoted in commercials nationwide, so Otome's production role is extremely important. But in a surprise twist, Starlight's festival turns out to overlap with Dream Academy's own school festival, and the two events are merged to avoid competing for attendance. As a result, the timetable the school had prepared must be scrapped, and Otome is given the responsibility of making a new one. She works up to the last minute on creating the perfect schedule to fit in all of her friends' talents. PowaPuri had been receiving requests for the members to perform individually, so Otome scraps their original performance block. For a twist, she assigns their friend Kaede, who'd performed with them before, to cover PowaPuri songs with Sakura and Shion. She keeps Ichigo as the event headliner, with Ron and Aoi scheduled to join her. She makes sure that all of her friends have personalized, individual performances, and presumably does the same for many other students at Starlight. But when she finally posts the schedule publicly the evening before the event, her friends all have the same complaint: Otome isn't on it. At first, she's just embarrassed to have made such an obvious mistake, but no one seems happy with her for saying that it's fine. They insist that she find a place for herself on the schedule, but it's impossible. With such last-minute planning, Otome has already committed to doing a lot of the production work herself. There's no time to call in extra help. The cost of all of her friends' wonderful performances the next day is Otome's personal effort in securing the materials for them. When her friends refuse to accept that she won't be in the spotlight, Otome responds as if she's arguing with the kindergartner she'd always been in charge of. "I'm the Starlight Queen, the ruler of Starlight Academy. Be sure to listen to what Queen Otome tells you." If she told them any more than that, they might ruin their own performances by trying to help her. By shutting them out, Otome forces them to drop the issue for the night. The next morning, Otome kicks off the event in a live broadcast and then gets to work behind the scenes. She'd been preparing for months, and it's still a hectic day of problem solving. But it's worth it. It's their last big event before they graduate, and Otome wants it to be an amazing final memory. At the end of the night, the fans will vote on which school put on a better show, and Otome can't bear the thought of losing to Dream Academy at such an important moment. Thanks to everyone's effort, the festival goes smoothly, and Otome is advertising for one of the last segments, Shion's solo play, when she's stopped by Ichigo, Aoi, and Ron. It's great timing, because she was about to go find them to prepare for their concert. But they start pressuring her to perform with them again, and Otome snaps at them. "Haven't I told you no?" When they keep pushing her, she angrily explains how important the event is to all of them. But it is embarrassing to be reminded that she left herself off the schedule on accident, so she tries a different approach. "Your performance is already perfect. I'd ruin it if I joined in." Her friends keep trying to persuade her though, and Otome lets them go on and on about how much they want her on stage. The only thing that catches her off guard is the complaints from fans that Aoi shows her on social media. They're disappointed that she's not performing, and Otome finally folds. It hadn't been her plan, and the performance would have been better with just the Soleil members, but Otome gives up her perfect schedule for her fans. It makes her very nervous at the end of the night. 120 million fan votes across the country have been tallied, and Otome stands on stage with the Soleil members and the Dream Academy representatives to wait for the results. By a slight margin, Starlight Academy wins, and Otome is relieved. Their final middle school memory has been solidified as a great one, and Otome is sad to see it end. After that, there's just the graduation album to work on, and then the graduation ceremony. As Starlight Queen, Otome leads their class address. Sakura leads the address from the underclassmen, and Otome is worried about leaving her behind. They perform together to close out the school year, and then Otome and Shion both move on to Starlight Academy's high school division. Although they're separated across campus, PowaPuri still spends plenty of time together. They only split up to pick new partners for Starlight's Partners Cup, a duo unit competition. Sakura pairs with her roommate, Shion is busy with work, and Otome is left to pair with Maria, a Dream Academy student. The two of them share mutual friends and get close while trying out partners ahead of the competition. The Partners Cup brings the debut of Double M, Mizuki's new unit as an independent idol. They win the competition and skyrocket to the top of the unit rankings, leaving PowaPuri in second place. Otome's individual idol ranking, separate from the Starlight Academy hierarchy, is 4th. Sakura and Shion drop to 15th and 16th respectively once Mizuki's partner, Mikuru, quickly climbs to 8th place. Then a new event, the Aikatsu election, is held to select 8 idols to form a unit and go on a summer concert tour, just like Star Annis 2 years prior. And with all the competition lately, Otome barely makes it to 7th place in the lineup, along with Ichigo, Mizuki, Mikuru, Eureka, and 3 of their Dream Academy friends, Maria, Seira, and Sora. They become a tightly knit group over the course of the tour, and Otome finally starts to feel at ease with the existence of Dream Academy. After the tour ends, Otome drops to 6th place in the individual idol rankings, overtaken by Mikuru and Eureka. And for the first year ever, the Starlight Queen Cup is not held that September. Instead, it's moving to the spring, right before the end of the school year, and open to all middle school students for the very first time. As a high school student, Otome is no longer eligible to protect her title. High school students are expected to focus more on establishing themselves in the adult world, so as spring approaches, she gradually begins to pack up her giant dorm. Shion helps move things along, but Sakura begins to distance herself from the building. Otome can only speculate that it's because of how much reverence she has for it as a symbol of the Starlight Queen legacy. When Otome notices how hard Sakura seems to be training for the Starlight Queen Cup, Otome decides to talk with her. She packs a picnic basket for the two of them and invites her to take a break from her jogging. After a simple statement of support, Sakura opens up and explains how much she wants to become the Starlight Queen herself, inspired not only by Mizuki, her original idol, but now Otome as well. Otome is glad to hear that Sakura has such a strong will to succeed. "I thought you might be feeling a bit down," she admits, "but the flower in your heart is always in bloom. You're gentle, kind, and always brilliant flower. That's why all of your fans are filled with happiness when they see you." When the competition arrives, Sakura fulfills her dream, and Otome is honored to present her with her victory bouquet. Her title now belongs to one of her closest friends, and Otome leaves her a drawer filled with candy in her brand new dorm. She makes sure to throw her a surprise party with all of their friends too. That summer, Otome fails to make it into the second generation of Aikatsu 8, but Sakura makes it in her place. PowaPuri participates in a special competition for 3-member units and make it to 4th place behind Soleil, TriStar, and a new middle school unit. But Otome is still perfectly happy with her career and her group members. The next Starlight Queen Cup comes and goes, and Sakura joins her as a former queen when the title is passed on again. When high school graduation approaches, Otome is still a headliner for her class's graduation concert alongside Ichigo. She helps with the concert's production, performs with PowaPuri and TriStar, and then she's carrying on with her life as a young adult. She becomes a hot bath ambassador, a pun on her "love you" catchphrase, and she still spends plenty of time with Sakura and Shion. As her voice actress Kurosawa Tomoyo says in the animated Aikatsu movie edition, "One word to describe her: genius. She was born to be an idol, and although she has the talent to work hard, she doesn't seem to think of it as hard work." Thank you so much for watching. I really love Otome's story and found a lot in common with her as I put the pieces together. Let me know your thoughts about Otome in the comments below, and keep an eye out for more video updates in my community tab. Bye bye!